This morning, a 73-year-old woman collapsed in her kitchen, not because of a heart condition, not because of a stroke, but because of a quiet, everyday habit she had trusted for decades. One she never imagined could betray her. And what makes this story even more urgent is that she's not alone. Across the world, thousands of older adults are unknowingly repeating the same 4 small mistakes every single morning, or routines that seem harmless, normal, even healthy. But when combined, they can turn a peaceful morning into a life-changing moment. A moment that begins in silence and ends in sirens. Now, if you or someone you love is over the age of 70, what you're about to hear might explain more than you think. Like why dizzy spells happen at the exact same time each morning, why that mysterious joint stiffness always hits before breakfast, or why a sudden fall seems to come out of nowhere. And that 4th habit, almost no one talks about it. But it might just be the most important one, the one that determines whether you stay independent or wake up in a hospital bed, wondering what went wrong. Now, if this is your first time hearing about these risks, don't worry, you're in the right place. We're not just here to raise alarms. We're going to walk through each habit and show you how small changes can make a powerful difference. So if you believe in honoring the wisdom of the elderly, if you care about senior health and safety, take a moment to like this video and subscribe. Because real-life lessons, they aren't found in textbooks. They're found in the quiet resilience of those who've lived through it all. And in stories like this one. Let's begin mistake no one. Getting out of bed too quickly for teenagers, or even middle-aged adults. Hopping out of bed in the morning is routine, thoughtless. But for someone in their 70s, it's a risk that hides in plain sight. Richard, a 75-year-old grandfather and lifelong community gardener, learned this the hard way. One morning, just like any other, he sat up in bed and stood up in one smooth motion, just like he'd done for years. But this time, the world spun. His vision blurred, his knees buckled, and he staggered backward, narrowly missing his nightstand. What happened wasn't visible to the eye, but it was written in the blood. When we sleep, blood naturally pools in the lower parts of our body. After 6 to 8 hours of lying still, the circulation slows. For seniors, standing up too fast causes a sudden drop in blood pressure. Something called orthostatic hypotension. The dizziness, the lightheadedness, that sudden need to sit back down. They're not just annoying symptoms. They're warnings that your body is struggling to catch up, and if ignored, could lead to a devastating fall. Fortunately, there's a simple 3-step routine that can make all the difference. First, while still lying down, take several deep, slow breaths. Wiggle your fingers and toes. This starts to reawaken your nervous system and re-engage circulation. Next, roll onto your side and swing your legs gently over the edge. Let your breath guide you. Only then, stand slowly, intentionally. The entire process takes under a minute, but for many seniors, it's the minute that saves the day. Because here's the truth, the body whispers long before it screams. And when we listen early, we don't have to listen late. Mistake 2. Skipping water first thing in the morning after a full night's sleep. Your body has gone 7 to 9 hours without hydration. No sips, no fluids. Just slow, quiet dehydration. And for seniors, this isn't a mild inconvenience. It's a silent threat. As we age, even slight dehydration thickens the blood, puts extra strain on the heart, and increases the risk of strokes, fatigue, and dangerous morning fall. Margaret, a 77-year-old retired librarian, had no idea. Her morning ritual was simple. Wake up, shuffle to the kitchen, start the coffee. Water never entered the equation, but over time she began to notice things. Her mornings felt foggy, her hands ached, her head pounded more often, and when she finally mentioned it to her doctor, he didn't add medication, he added water. 1 glass first thing, not after coffee, before it. The result? Her mornings came back to life. Here's the catch. As we get older, our bodies become worse at detecting thirst. By the time a senior feels thirsty, they're already dehydrated. The fix is gentle but powerful. Keep a glass of water on your nightstand. When you wake up, before brushing your teeth or reaching for the kettle, drink it. Even better, warm water with lemon, gentle on the stomach and a natural detoxifier. This isn't just about comfort, it's about protecting your heart, your brain, your balance, your independence. Mistake number 3, drinking coffee before eating anything coffee. For many, it's not just a drink, it's a ritual, a source of comfort, a way to wake up. But for older adults, having coffee before eating anything can trigger a dangerous chain reaction. See, when we wake up, the body's cortisol levels, that's the stress hormone, are already at their peak. Add caffeine to an empty stomach, and that cortisol spikes even higher. The result? Jitters, acid reflux, irritability, and a roller coaster blood sugar crash that makes you feel more tired after the coffee than before. Robert, a 76-year-old retired mechanic, noticed the pattern. He felt frazzled before noon, irritable by mid-morning, and had stomach pains that lingered long after breakfast. The solution wasn't to give up coffee, it was to buffer it. Coffee isn't the villain, but timing matters. A small bite of food creates the balance your body needs to handle caffeine. Think of it as laying a foundation before pouring concrete. Protect your stomach and your whole morning runs smoother. The twinge in the back. After age 70, joints lose lubrication, muscles tighten overnight, and if you rush that first movement, if you go straight from sleep to standing, you're rolling the dice. Walter, 79, used to start each morning with a brisk walk, but one day moving too fast on a tight knee led to a slip, a fall, and a fractured hip. 3 months of recovery followed, and Walter said something profound. It wasn't my weakness that took me down, it was my speed. The solution? Warm your body like an instrument. Before rising, rotate your ankles, stretch your arms overhead, draw gentle circles with your knees. Once seated, do a few shoulder rolls, neck tilts, and ankle pumps. Let the body reawaken gradually. Don't rush into your day. Ease into it. It's not wasted time, it's protection. Insurance against pain, against falls, against losing your independence. These 4 habits seem small, almost invisible, but they can determine whether a senior stays on their feet or suffers a preventable injury. Whether mornings feel energized or foggy and fragile. And now that you know the truth, you have the power to change everything, starting tomorrow. Because in senior health, it's not just about moving, it's about moving wisely. Every strong step taken today is a step that won't be lost tomorrow. Mistake? 5. Taking medication on an empty stomach. It's a quiet routine, one so deeply woven into the daily lives of many seniors that it happens on autopilot. Wake up, sit up, reach for the pill organizer, swallow the morning's first medication with a small sip of water, and move on. No breakfast, no pause, no second thought. But what no one talks about, what doctors don't always explain and pharmacists can forget to mention, is that for seniors, this automatic habit can quietly turn helpful medicine into hidden harm. Barbara, a 74-year-old retired teacher with a bookshelf full of memories and a heart full of grandchildren, followed this exact pattern. Every morning before she even brushed her teeth, she'd take her blood pressure pill along with a few supplements. All swallowed quickly, often on an empty stomach. At first, the effects were subtle. A wave of nausea that passed as she made coffee. A burn in her chest she blamed on age. The occasional dizzy spell as she leaned over the sink. It all felt like part of getting older. Until one morning she told her doctor about her symptoms. And with a quiet nod, he pointed to the true cause. Not the medication itself, but the timing. A simple shift to eating a small breakfast first changed everything. The nausea vanished. The heartburn subsided. The lightheadedness stopped. What she thought was aging turned out to be a fixable routine. Here's what you must know. Some medications, like NSAIDs, that's ibuprofen or naproxen, are harsh on the stomach lining if taken without food. They can silently cause irritation, even bleeding. Certain antibiotics, bone-strengthening drugs, and iron supplements can do the same. On the other hand, some medications, like thyroid pills or specific blood pressure medicines, actually need to be taken on an empty stomach, but only if the stomach is truly empty and the pills are taken with enough water and separated from interfering supplements like calcium or magnesium. Then there are vitamins, even seemingly gentle ones, like vitamin D or B complex, which can lead to nausea if swallowed before eating. But bottom line, every pill has its own rhythm, its own rule book, and most seniors don't get a master guide. They get scattered instructions from different doctors at different times with different assumptions. That's why elderly wisdom says, plan your medications like you plan your meals. Don't rely on memory alone. Create a simple, clear checklist. Mark which pills require food, which don't, which need spacing, and which must be taken alone. Tape it to your pill box. Put a copy on your fridge. Share it with your caregiver or your adult children. And always use a full glass of water, at least 8 ounces. A tiny sip may seem enough, but it's not. That small sip can leave pills lodged in the esophagus, where they irritate the lining and cause pain, ulcers. Because here's the painful truth. Many older adults suffer for months, sometimes years, with stomach issues or dizziness or weakness, never realizing that the cause wasn't the medication, but the way it was taken. The fix? Often no more complicated than a few bites of toast, a glass of water, and a change in sequence. So remember, it's not just what you take, it's how and when you take it that determines whether your medicine becomes your shield or your mistake. 6. Rushing to the bathroom in the dark. It's 3:00 a.m. The world outside is quiet. Your room is filled with the hush of stillness, and your body stirs with a familiar message. Time to use the bathroom. You sit up, still half asleep. No lights, no shoes. You know the path well, from bed to hallway to bathroom. You've walked it 1,000 times. So you trust your memory, trust your balance. You trust the dark. But that's where the real danger hides. For millions of seniors, the quiet night becomes the setting for their worst fall, and they never see it coming. Richard, who now laughs gently at his younger self, remembers the night he tripped over a pair of slippers at the foot of his bed. He hadn't turned on the light. He didn't hold on to anything for balance. One moment he was standing. The next, he was on the floor with a broken wrist and a wave of regret, not because of the pain, but because it could have been prevented. Here's why nighttime is so dangerous for older adults. First, vision naturally weakens with age, and in low light, depth perception and peripheral vision decline even more. Second, sleep inertia, that groggy state when you first wake, makes reaction time slower, balance shakier, and coordination clumsier. And finally, the home itself becomes a minefield. A rug corner, a phone charger, a misplaced shoe, any of these can turn a simple bathroom trip into a trip to the emergency room. But here's the good news. The solution is simple, inexpensive, and life-saving. Install motion-sensor nightlights in your bedroom, hallway, and bathroom. These small lights activate automatically when they detect movement, giving you gentle illumination without shocking your eyes awake. Clear your path before bedtime, no rugs, no clutter, cords. Keep a stable object nearby, a nightstand, a bed rail, or a wall-mounted grab bar. Something to steady you when your balance is weakest, and make it a habit to wear non-slip slippers or socks designed with grip, even during the night. Most importantly, understand this: the most dangerous place for seniors to fall is not outdoors, it's inside the home. And the number one danger zone, the bathroom. Slippery tiles, low lighting, a sleepy body moving too fast. That's the storm, and all it takes is one misstep. Another small but vital habit: try to limit heavy drinking, especially diuretics like tea or alcohol, 2 hours before bed. But don't stop hydrating entirely. Dehydration brings its own dangers. Balance matters. Because here's the deeper truth behind all of this. The body over 70 is like a classic car. Reliable, powerful, full of stories. But it demands care, attention, preparation. Nighttime habits are no exception. Why all these small habits matter. You might be thinking, it's just one pill, just a sip of water, just a short walk to the bathroom. But that's where most people go wrong. Because in reality, it's never just one thing. Every small action adds up. Every tiny mistake quietly compounds. And after 70, the body magnifies every decision. Good or bad, one fall can steal months of mobility. One episode of dehydration can strain the kidneys or trigger a cascade of. One poorly timed medication can lead to stomach bleeding, dizziness, or worse. That's not fear, that's physiology. But here's the power in your hands. Awareness leads to prevention. Prevention builds strength, and strength preserves freedom. You don't need to overhaul your entire routine. You don't need to chase perfection. What you need are small, deliberate acts of care, repeated each day, that honor the wisdom your body carries. Senior health isn't about avoiding life. It's about living smarter. It's not about being afraid of aging. It's about using your experience to age with power. So don't resent the changes. Respect them. Adapt. Protect. Invest in the future you still have by adjusting the present you control. Because the truth is this: the steps you protect today are the freedoms you'll still enjoy tomorrow. And every day you rise with awareness, every morning you move with wisdom, is another day that belongs to you, not to fate. This isn't about fear. This is about strength. This is resilience. This is how you rise. Mistake? 7. Staying mentally inactive in the morning. Every morning the body begins its slow rise from rest. The heartbeat grows stronger, the lungs expand with deeper breaths. The muscles stretch gently beneath the weight of sleep's release. It's a quiet, beautiful reawakening. But often one part is left behind: the mind. Too many seniors go through their mornings physically present, but mentally adrift. They move through habit without intention. The coffee brews as it always has. The toast pops up on cue. The news hums in the background with the same familiar headlines. And in the comfort of this routine, something crucial begins to fade. Not all at once, not with drama, but gradually like fog covering a once clear view. That's exactly what happened to Harold, an 81-year-old retired architect with a brilliant mind that once designed city skylines and shaped communities. After retiring, he welcomed the calm. No more deadlines, no more client meetings, just peace. But peace, as it turned out, brought stillness, and stillness brought something more dangerous. Mental dormancy. At first, the signs were subtle. Forgetting names of acquaintances he used to know by heart, losing track of the day. Misplacing the TV remote, not just under a cushion but in the freezer. Not signs of disease, but signs of disuse. His brain wasn't failing, it was simply unchallenged. The shift came not from a doctor's prescription, but from his granddaughter's simple suggestion. "Grandpa, what if you started your mornings by stretching your brain?" Harold laughed at first, but he was curious, so he tried. He began with a 5-minute journal. Other days, he'd call an old friend or recite the capitals of countries he once dreamed of visiting. Within weeks, something changed. His mind felt sharper. He could recall details with more ease. His memory no longer embarrassed him. His confidence returned, not because he tried to reclaim his youth, but because he gave his brain something to do, something to reach for. Neuroscience backs up what Harold experienced. Mental stimulation, especially in the morning when the brain is most receptive, increases blood flow, strengthens neural pathways, sharpens focus, and may even delay the onset of cognitive decline. This doesn't mean seniors need to master foreign languages or solve complex math equations. It simply means they need to engage, to reflect, to participate in their own awakening, whether it's reading a poem, answering a riddle, calling a loved one, or journaling 3 simple sentences. The mind responds to movement. It grows where it is stretched, and like any muscle, it atrophies when left still. In the reflections of the elderly, one truth echoes across time. A sharp mind is more than memory. It is dignity, it is awareness. It is the compass that guides every step that follows. And if you feed it gently each morning, it will remain your ally, alert, resilient, and wise. Mistake number 8 in the day without purpose. Now we reach the most dangerous mistake of all. Not because it breaks bones or disrupts sleep, but because it weakens the very thing that keeps a person moving forward. It is the quiet ache that no X-ray can detect, the heaviness that doesn't show up in lab results. It is waking up without a reason, not because the body refuses to move, but because the heart silently asks, why bother? And for many seniors, question comes not from laziness, but from loss. Eleanor, 84, knew this ache intimately. After her husband passed away, her mornings changed. She stopped walking, skipped breakfast, let the dishes pile up. The television played, but she didn't watch. Her home was no longer a sanctuary, it became a waiting room. Her body remained healthy by clinical standards, but inside, her spirit was starving. To call her sister, to bake cookies for the neighborhood kids, it was gone, not because she lacked energy, but because she lacked purpose. And this is the great secret few speak aloud. Purpose is not an accessory. It is not a luxury for those who still feel young. It is fuel. Biological, emotional, and spiritual fuel. Studies show that having a sense of purpose improves immune function, strengthens the heart, lowers risk of cognitive decline, and even leads to longer lifespans. But beyond science, there is a deeper truth. Purpose gives the day structure, meaning, direction. Without it, time dissolves into aimless hours. But with it, every hour has weight, and every morning has momentum. Purpose doesn't have to be grand. It doesn't have to involve saving the world or launching a business. It can be humble, quiet, beautiful. Don, a 78-year-old Vietnam veteran, found his purpose in walking the neighborhood each morning and watching over the children on their way to school. He didn't wear a uniform. He didn't ask for thanks. He just waved, smiled, and made sure everyone was safe. And that simple act gave him strength, stability, meaning. Others find purpose in tending a garden, caring for a pet, checking in on a neighbor, sharing wisdom through letters, mentoring a young adult, or praying for those they love. Purpose takes many forms. What matters is not how loud it is, but how true it feels to you. When the body tires, purpose gives it a second wind. When the world feels too heavy, purpose is the anchor. When the morning feels empty, purpose fills it with quiet resolve. Because the greatest tragedy isn't aging, it isn't even death. It's drifting through your days with no reason to rise. long before your body gives out. Let's recap. You have now seen what most seniors never hear from their doctors. 8 hidden habits that shape the course of each day. Habits that, when left unchecked, erode strength, clarity, and confidence. But also, and more importantly, habits that can be gently replaced with rituals of care, mindfulness, and renewal. Let's quickly revisit your morning blueprint. Wake slowly, breathe deeply, rise with intention, rehydrate before coffee, not after. Eat a small bite before caffeine touches your stomach. Stretch in bed to release tension and prevent that dangerous first step fall. Take medications mindfully, not just on time, but under the right conditions. Light your night path, not with memory, but with motion sensors and cleared floors. Stimulate your mind with words, with puzzles, with conversation, and finally ground your morning in purpose. Even if it's just one small act that reminds you who you are and why you're still here. You don't need to do all 8 changes tomorrow. Start with 1. Make it sacred, make it yours. Then build another, because motivation at this stage of life doesn't come from massive transformations. It comes from tiny acts of self-respect repeated every day, until they become a new rhythm, a new morning, a new you. Final thoughts. Aging is not a descent. It is a refining, a distillation of what truly matters, and each morning offers you a blank canvas. You can rise in fog, or you can rise in fire. You can drift, or you can steer. You can let time carry you, or you can walk into it with your head high and your heart steady. So ask yourself softly but honestly, when tomorrow morning arrives, what will I give myself? Will I give my body the kindness it deserves, my mind the stretch it craves, my spirit the reason it still longs for? You already know the answer. It's waiting in your next breath, in the warmth of your first sip of water, in the decision to rise not just from your bed, but into your day, into your power, into your purpose. If this message touched you, if even one moment made you pause, reflect, or see your morning differently, I invite you to share it. Like this video, subscribe, and leave a comment. Tell us, what one small change will you make tomorrow? What habit will you reclaim in honor of your strength? This isn't a channel for quiet aging. This is a channel for powerful living. For mornings that begin not with weakness, but with choice. Not with fear, but with fire. Together, let's rise with dignity, with wisdom, and with unstoppable grace. Thank you for being here. Thank you for caring, and most of all, thank you for choosing to live fiercely, fully, beautifully. In this extraordinary season of life,